And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal. And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended, but there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will... My story is many thousands of years. It is a matter of perspective. God is a label I was given by you mortals. Your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly. But despite all that, this is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names. Ereshkigal to the Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal. Your gaze lingers too long. That is my servant. You would have met by the river, though she wears many faces and goes by Kumutabal to the Her role is to ferry soul. For that, she earned herself the... You will talk more later. For now, ask your questions. My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand and communicate with your kind. In time, we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords, desire, joy. No. Long ago, I swore to Proserpina that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. As you wish. It has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made That is a long story, one that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called... For a time, we had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion. And soon you returned to your old ways of violence and my kin had seen enough and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric. And we began preparations to return to Elysium, our hope. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance. And knowing it would force the rest of us, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend, and so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation in a deep frozen sleep to prevent age and sickness from... And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, but he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing if even one human city could prove itself, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthought. And here I am, after all this time. There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names. But perhaps our leader Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved. As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans. And they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten. To ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's Obol. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for. Your kind will have squandered the last of its potential to us. It is a regrettable story. One of the first men to be rid of him, I returned him to his people, on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning, and in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth. Of course, that is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing. That is a story dating back to the very first wave, after the Sumerians finished building their city. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife. Of all the women, 2 were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both around their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklace. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold. And when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a She checked that nobody was watching, and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat, where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe, and I left her to stand there, she might serve as a... But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by... So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all, to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came, suspended in time with only their sight and hearing preserved. I give your kind a second chance at life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey, and you always disobey, and so you ask if I am the one you destroy yourselves. When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. A consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called up. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies. I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 tables of... This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added, treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you, yet none of the peoples who express this rule. For you, perhaps. I'm able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my... If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask? Then what an odd question. Do you plan to speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example? You speak of the moneylender. How is that inconsistent with the rule? And he would never have signed a contract pledging his labor for 30 years. All he did was enforce the terms of a contract. Ignoring your irritating sense of moral superiority. This is interesting. I see. And how long might it take such a person to repay their debt? I fail to see how your system of loans is significantly different. Now tell me, what others... The merchant. How is that inconsistent? I disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway. Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked? Abduction? You mean the magistrate imprisoned? He did so because she sought to escape. Better that he stops her from escaping, albeit brutish. Now tell me, the midwife in the palace, yes. How is that inconsistent with the rule? The rule is do unto others, meaning other people. Those statues are something else now. Bloodless shadows. They are forsaken. Applying this rule always requires us to interpret the meaning of the words. A literal interpretation helps to minimize the ambiguities of your... Supposing you're right, then my law's been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want? Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked? Do you honestly think you could do better? I should strike you down for that. Now, did you have any other questions before your reckoning? Very well. Good. Then now it is time for your reckoning. Only, it seems, something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see into the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Charon, where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here? If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
I cannot know.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpina has slumbered for 3,000 years. Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems... Why have you come here? If you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments, you face death here. So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called Golden Rule? How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up. True. I have witnessed him doing that. He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one. His cruelty does seem to grow greater by the day. Pathetic. You will need to do a lot better than that. That is a very serious accusation, mortal. What sin have I committed? What evidence do you have to support it? Every one of those people was guilty of failing to ensure their peace. They failed collectively, and so they were punished collectively. The Romans understand this. Ah, but I'm a god, and you are a mortal. Why would you expect me to treat you as I... Let me ask you this. Do you treat insects as you wish to? Do you ensure they have food and I warned you not to lie. You will make a fine statue. Do you really think you can wound me, a god, with that primitive weapon? How dare you threaten her? This ends now. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. I would recognize that anywhere. And yet my beloved still wears hers. You vile... You... If I refuse, you will murder her. And yet if I... Perhaps you are clever. I do not see that I have a choice in this. Your treachery, and now you have shown me your species' true colors. And I see that Proserpina, this has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go. But know this, if I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest. Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken. Now, you had best prep.
Oh! Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Well, here I am. Know who you are? I barely remember. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, and then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience. And nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving what became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years? I don't know, it reads like an earnest account to me. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me. I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple. You go on ahead, and I'll be there soon.
You're back! But you're alone. Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there.
Why don't you tell me what you discovered, while we wait?
Really? Sounds amazing. And did you... Oh, look! Here he comes. Al! It's so good to see you.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. And there was a tablet describing an
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But... you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while...
Sounds good to me.
And you?
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. After everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up.
Oh, hello.
You're finally here! It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Karen appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your... Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation. I wanted to say thanks. I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're planning to get married next spring. If you're gonna be around... Oh, I used Karen's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and Of course, there's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you better keep moving.
You're here. It's So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman... I'm just teasing. Actually, and it... Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. It feels like the world has... We're just so thankful. Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nice... See you at the...
There you are. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just allow me to introduce myself. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. I wanted to meet you and I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention. Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues and whisper to you. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever... I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands, so I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. So I whispered to Sentius in secret, telling him the prayer required to create a portal in my shrine. I knew the danger of humans being corrupted by godly power. I required the creator of the portal to sacrifice their own life, so that it could only be used selflessly to help others. What I did not anticipate is that Sentius would retain his accumulated memories from each previous day, and as a veteran soldier, he had long since shed his fear of death. He quickly discovered that he could, in effect, prolong his own life indefinitely by exploiting the cycle. Of course, once I had taught him the prayer, I could not unteach him, and there was little I could do but wait for someone like you to come along and see him for what he was. We were all fortunate you came along when you did. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him. Oh, she inherited dominion over the Underworld. Last time we spoke, she wouldn't say what it was. But I'd be surprised if you don't want... And you. Although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered? Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the Underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas make me proud.